In this video, I'm going to be telling you exactly how I got into University of California schools with my GPA, test scores, extracurriculars, and more all right now. If you are new here, hello, I'm Sophie, and I help teenagers overcome the struggles of high school by giving advice from my own experiences. So if that is something you are interested in, then please consider subscribing down below. And with that said, let's get started on how I got into UCs. GPA. I took AP classes all years besides freshman year, so my GPA was usually above a 4.0, and with this, my overall cumulative GPA was 4.36, which includes freshman year, and my academic GPA was 4.53, which doesn't include freshman year. UCs, I'm pretty sure, look at academic GPA, but other schools look at different GPAs, so you will have to do your research on which one you put in your application. Having a good GPA was very important to me because I knew that it was one of the first things that college admissions officers looked at, so I really tried my best to get the best GPA possible. This did not mean taking 6 AP classes to get that spicy 5.0, but rather taking enough AP classes to get a high GPA while also not taking too many, that I couldn't keep up with the workload and end up messing up my GPA because I couldn't keep up with the class. This tactic ended up working out pretty well for me, as I only got 1 B in all of high school in only 1 semester. Screw you, AP US History. Anyways, for me personally, this meant taking 2 AP classes my sophomore year, 4 my junior year, and 3 my senior year, but this obviously differs for every student, and you just have to find what works out best for you. Also, UCs don't look at class rank, but if you're interested in my class rank for other schools that you might be applying to, my class rank was 5 out of 391. So that was all about my GPA, so let's move on to a different category. Test scores. I took the SAT twice and the ACT once, so I will tell you my scores for all of those and explain how I chose which score to submit to the UCs. For my first SAT, I got 1440 overall with a 760 in English, 680 in math, and 16 for the essay score. I also took the ACT around the same time, scoring a 30 overall with 28 in the STEM category and 30 in the English Language Arts category. I then decided after taking both tests that I preferred to take the SAT, so I studied for the SAT more and took it again, and when I did that I got a 1460. I know not much of a difference from the 1440 of before, but I got a 730 in English and 730 in math also. So while my English score did drop a little bit, my math score actually raised by a lot, which was really good for me as I was planning to apply into a STEM-related major for the UCs, so this score would look a lot better than the 680 from last time. And my essay score was the exact same as the last time, which was 16. So I decided to use this score to apply to the UCs, and remember that the UCs do not super score, so you have to pick the best score from one sitting, so that is why I picked this SAT score and didn't put both into the system because they wouldn't super score it anyway. If you would like to compare your SAT and ACT scores to find out which one you actually scored better on, there are plenty of charts online where you can find that out. So I did this for mine and found that my 30 on the ACT was equivalent to a 1370 on the SAT, which wasn't nearly as good as my actual SAT score I got, which is 1460, and that's why I decided to use that SAT score to apply. Classes. UCs don't just care about your GPA, they also care about the specific classes you took. I made sure to take classes that related to my major field overall. While I didn't know my specific major I would go into, I knew that I kind of wanted to go into the STEM-related sciences field, so I made sure to take classes that related to that. And I also placed more focus on these classes so that the UCs could really see that I cared about the field that I was going into. And I can confirm for a fact that you definitely do not have to know your specific major to get into UCs by taking the classes that relate to it, because in the beginning of high school, I thought I wanted to be an engineer, so I took classes in the engineering program called Project Lead the Way for 2 years, and I kind of realized after that that I didn't really want to be an engineer, and so I took the more biology route for classes, and I just experimented with a lot of different classes in the sciences. So you don't have to know right away what you want to go into, but I definitely recommend experimenting with different kinds of classes in the general field that you want to be in, so that the UC see that you tried a lot of different things and you found something that you actually are passionate about. The AP classes I took in high school were physics, world history, biology, computer science principles, calculus AB, US history, US government and politics, psychology, and calculus BC. So as you can tell, I took 9, which is quite a lot of AP classes, and 6 out of the 9 of those classes are STEM related, so that did help me, I think, look really good on my college applications. While I personally do not believe that AP scores have too much impact on college admissions, I will tell you my AP scores anyway. So I got a 4 on all of my AP exams, which is kind of odd, besides Calculus BC, where I got a 3, and Physics, where I got a 2. We don't talk about that one. Shh. Shh. As you may or may not have noticed, I did not take any AP English classes or AP language classes. This is because I wanted to focus more on the classes that related to my major and on classes that I didn't want to do in college and history. I am not the best at English and writing essays, as you may have been able to tell from my SAT essay score, so I decided to stick to regular English just because I knew AP English would be really overwhelming for me, and this is a decision I have 0 regrets about. As for language, I actually really love learning Spanish, and it is something I had so much fun doing, but I didn't think I was ready to pursue the language at an AP level, and I knew that the UCs would like that I already had 3 years of a language going for me, so I just didn't take it, and that is also a decision I have 0 regrets about. Also, if you look at the UC website about how applications are reviewed, you will see that admissions officers like to see when a student excels in one or more specific subject areas, and that is what I did with my classes. And if you have any more questions about these other specific classes that I took or my recommendations for you, let me know in the comments. Extracurriculars. I did a lot of extracurriculars in high school, but a lot of them have a similar subject or theme, which you might notice as I tell you. I did varsity track and field for 1 year, varsity cheerleading for 2 years, theater for 3 years with lead roles for 2 of those years, danced in the homecoming skit for all 4 years, and competed in the talent show for 3 years. Most of these activities relate to a passion of mine, which is dance. Many people will tell you that UCs like to see when you have stuck to a sport or an activity throughout high school because it shows passion and commitment. While that is great, and if you love the activity you are in, you should stick with it, if you don't enjoy what you are doing now, then changing your route shows that you can adapt to changes and that you aren't afraid to try new things, which are very admirable traits in a college applicant. Even though I didn't stick to a specific activity like everybody tells you to do, I stuck with my passion and didn't give up on it, so I think that really helped me to stand out. Volunteering. I didn't volunteer nearly as much as a lot of my friends did, but I will share the volunteering I did do here. So I volunteered in my community ghost house for 2 years, which amounted to about 20 volunteer hours in total, and I also volunteered at a week-long summer day camp with my friend, which amounted to about 36 volunteer hours, and that was all the volunteering I did in high school. This is really not much compared to what a lot of other people I know have done, but this really just proves that you don't need to have 500 volunteer hours to get into college. Just try to volunteer with things that you actually enjoy and care about, but that you actually have time for, because you really don't want to let your grades slip because of volunteering, because we all know that grades matter much more than volunteering when it comes to getting into college. Work experience. I worked 1 job in high school for 2 years, and I worked once a week for about 3 hours, and that was all. This may not seem like much, but in the application I talked about the skills I gained from this job, such as caring for babies and children, cooperating with peers to set up events, and leadership skills being the only person doing inventory. This shows that my job taught me a lot of valuable skills for life, and that is great for a college applicant no matter how many hours a week I actually worked. My advice to you, if you have the time for a job, is to get one that you can actually talk about on a college application and to not overwork yourself, because really, work experience doesn't matter that much on a college application. It is just something additional to add in case you don't have some of the other things, and it's just an addition. It's not a critical part of the college application. Overcoming obstacles. UCs like to see that you have overcome struggles, so even if you think that they won't care about something you've gone through or are currently going through, they do. However, admissions officers really do not want to hear sob stories along the lines of, this event really sucked and this is why my grades dropped freshman year and that's why they're still low right now. They really don't want to hear that. While that event may have happened and it may have affected you a lot, the admissions officers want to see what you did to cope, overcome, and move on from that obstacle, or if it is something that you're going through right now, what you are currently doing to cope with the situation. In one of my essays, I wrote about how my anxiety has affected me for almost my whole life and how it definitely took a big toll on me in high school. Instead of just writing about this is why I really struggled in high school, I wrote about how I tried to overcome the anxiety so that I could achieve my goals. That was just my personal example, but I am sure there are many things that you can write about in your essays. Just to kind of recap and conclude, the three main characteristics that UCs really look for in an applicant besides just pure intelligence are leadership, perseverance, and passion. Try your best to incorporate at least one of these, if not all of them, into your essays to show the admissions officers that you are not just a great student, but a great person as a whole, which you are. And that was how I got into the University of California schools. If you have any more questions, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more of this kind of content. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!